Well, there's no doubt that things have changed with the COVID-19 physical restrictions on purchasing real estate. How we list is different, how we show is different, and how we go to closing is much different than it had previously been. We've got a true expert with us, Jeff Marks from the law firm of Ryan Marks and Stromberg, to share with us what might be a little bit different when you go to your real estate closing. Jeff, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Wally. Thank you very much.
So Jeff, I'm a home buyer. I've done all the things I've dreamed of. I've worked virtually with my agent. I'm ready to go. We've got contract, and now it's time for closing. How is that process different for me now than it may have been 6 months ago?
We're doing what we call picnic closings, Wally. In our office, we're setting up tables and chairs outside and having only 2 people at the table plus one of our lawyer closers at the table. It's really become customary in the last several years for sellers to sign early anyway. They don't need to sit for an hour during a closing when the buyer signs their 80 documents and we wait for a funding number. So that's continuing. Sellers are signing early, and then buyers are coming, and everybody's masking up and gloving up nowadays. We have table outside. I'm about 6 feet from them. I bring out a box of pens that's never been used. I tell them, touch 2 only. You get to keep the pen after closing. We don't want it back. And we sanitize our hands with some Purell. And or if they're wearing gloves, they don't need to do that. And then I slide the papers down to them. I explain what the note is, what the mortgage is. I go over the closing statement, go over all the documents. And then I say, here's where you sign. For those documents that need a witness, I'm one of the witnesses as well as the notary. And then I'll have one of my staff stand about 10 or 15 feet away, watch them sign. Then they'll slide the document back to me. I'll hand it to my staff, and they'll be the other witness. We're still funding quickly with the lenders. We're receiving wires. We're sending wires. Buyers can get insurance. So it's just the physical difference of staying away, only 2 people at a time. And in my office, we're lucky we can be right outside.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So Jeff, in preparation, if I'm the buyer, is there anything that I should do a little bit different or any preparation I should make before I come up to your picnic closing?
Yeah, I would love for all the buyers to know their figures ahead of time. They know the bottom line. We've given them that so that they can send a wire, get a cashier's check. But we generally will send the closing statement to their realtor, and I hope their realtor will review it with them and pass it on so that we can save some time and just say, if you've reviewed the closing statement and you understand the numbers, sign here, sign all 6 copies. The other thing they do is they're wearing masks almost always now, and some are wearing gloves. When they pull up to my office, we have a sign on the door. It says, open the door and announce that you're here and go wait back in your car, and then we'll motion you to the table when it's time. So we don't want people sitting at the table in advance or standing at our doorway in advance. And what's different for realtors is many realtors are not attending the closing. They've done their job. They don't need to be at the closing. But those that do, we put a chair about 15 or 20 feet away.
Excellent. Excellent. And from a seller's perspective, has it changed the timeline on how they're interacting with you? And can they do this without coming to the office at all?
A lot of sellers don't live here anymore. They've moved. And so we do what we call a mail away, but we would email the documents to them, tell them to print it off, tell them to sign in blue ink, preferably. They have to go to a notary because the deed has to be notarized. So they'll have to do that. But for those sellers who are still in town, they'll come early, and we only need about 10 minutes with the seller. In January, Florida's remote online notary law was implemented, but really almost none of us have implemented it to where we can use it. You have to get what's called a RON, a remote online notary provider, who has this sophisticated equipment that it's not just Skype at all, because the party signing on anything, they have to hold up an ID, say a Florida driver's license or an any state driver's license. And the software will tell us within about 3 seconds whether it's a valid ID. The other concern there is lenders have not said that they would accept the remote online notary. So what's happened is sellers and buyers almost never meet at the table at the same time anymore. Sellers sign early, and most of them want us to wire their funds, which we do.
So the remote was a nice idea, approved by the legislature, not really yet in full implementation.
Not here, not in full. I tried to contact a couple of the major national players and they are so swamped they'll just send you an email that, we're swamped, we'll have to get back to you.
I want to thank Jeff Marks for spending time with us. We can still buy real estate, we can still sell real estate, we can still get it closed, and your preparation before you come to the closing table is going to streamline that and make it a good experience.